Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Well, apparently one of my older avocado trees has decided to die, leaving me with one of the older ones and the rest gone. The grapefruit tree has been on the growing lately, that one. This one looked like it was going to die, but it's growing some too. My little potato plants are doing pretty good. All things considered, I put some nutrients out on some of these things now. Hopefully that'll make them better. Hopefully here pretty soon I'm going to be putting a bunch of these things outside now that it's getting almost past frost, because they're really crowded in here and they need more sunlight. Now on to other things. Recently my mom got some kind of, I don't know, this is a type of palm tree, I suppose, and she said that's a lavender. And then she got a I should know what those things are, I don't remember. Anyhow, so the various houseplants. This is apparently an elephant garlic. My spindly pear is doing pretty well, seeing as it's floating in water and it's recovered and it's growing again. She repotted some of the many burgeoning aloe vera plants. She got I forget what she called this thing. Anyhow, I've seen it all my life, don't know what it's called. I've heard of it. I don't know what this is. I'm guessing it's some kind of spice plant, but it could be a flower plant too. Knew what that was a moment. Geranium, yeah. Tame geranium. See if I can get a better view of it from above. Anyhow, this may even have a name on it to say what it is, but if it does, I don't see it. So anyhow, she's gone on a flower buying mission to get all these different pretty flowers that are, and that's a cactus that she got. So a little at a time, she's building up a repertoire of plants in here. She's been working on some mixing potting soil. My non-variegated spider plant's doing pretty good, all things considered. That little vine back there in the corner is not doing great because it's either not getting enough water or it's not getting enough light. A lot of fake flowers over here, plastic silk flowers that she's got going on. So, and over here she's got more silk flowers and she repotted the spider plant, I guess, in there. More aloe veras. So overall, she's prettifying the place up. She got a free, they gave it to her, a free portable emergency in-house toilet, which she hopes to set up here pretty soon over by her bedroom for emergency purposes. And so hopefully that'll come out alright. Now the pot that had this is where the aloe vera came from that she repotted. It pretty much was coming loose out of there. Hopefully pretty soon all this stuff will be outside, except I think the aloe vera plants. I don't know if the aloe vera will go outside. It hasn't been out before, so I don't know. Now, on the topic of plants, she decided to go and splurge and get some strawberry plants. I think she paid $20 a piece for these. They're ever-bearing. And she spent about $60 on all four of them, I guess. This one's almost ripe. Anyhow, so yeah, they're going to hang there now that hopefully as it stays above freezing. I had to bring them in the last couple nights, even right after she got them, we were having frosty nights. over here, of course, these babies are all just lounging. Mr. Snookums is pretty much lounging. You doing alright, Mr. Snookums? Yeah, getting enough sunlight. Since it's been a little drier, he's been out a little further and getting some sun. Pretty much chilling out, taking it easy. Huh, I was almost standing right over a bird. Didn't realize it until it took off and flew. I didn't even see what kind it was. It was right here in this grass. While we're down here, these, again, I think they're lentils that I put out here. Some of them got eaten off, and some of them may have died, but some of them are coming back. Hopefully they will come back all along through here. Does appear that we're actually getting Bermuda grass again. Yeah, we're getting Bermuda grass. I don't know if it's because the heat warms this area up more than the area around, but theoretically Bermuda grass shouldn't be coming up for at least 2 more months. But here it's coming up now, so it's kind of cool. So we haven't had a rain in a couple weeks, but we've had good moisture. So what I mean by that is the rain we got has stayed, and in the fact that the moisture has stayed, let me get the door closed, keep flies out. Not that I see a lot of flies, but you don't have to see them. They can come around when you're not looking. We had some pretty good wind. Blew some branches down here and there. Now I hauled off some branches that fell down right near the gate as I was over here working. Of course, I moved the celery out. Hopefully it'll recover. I've hopefully got it. I trimmed back a lot of the dead, dying branches, and I re-agitated the soil some, and I put some water in there and some nutrients. I'll need to put some more in. Hopefully I'm going to raise it up, add more compost and get it up deeper so that it has more chance to root deeply, seeing as it is a relative of the carrot family. Apparently it needs a good deep root. Wind blew my tarp off my bales, but I'm leaving them off right now because it's hopefully helping them to dry a little better. The red buds are all coming open. They're starting to look pretty nice. They will for a little while, and they'll go back to, well, they'll go to leaf. I gotta cut that off here, get my grapevines trained down. Over here to catch up with the well project. This past week, I mostly focused on bringing over a load of sand that I bought. That's all newly purchased sand, new to us anyway. It's thousands of years old sand, or maybe millions, depending on how you argue it. And then the gravel that's been here for near 40 years. I brought a bunch of that up. I got more gravel than sand because there's going to be a lot more gravel used than sand in this operation. So I got the cement mixer up here. The weird thing sticking out of the cement mixer is actually a roll of plastic that I'm going to use in the process of laying my concrete pad. So that's why it's there, just to keep, in case it rains, it'll keep the water off the cardboard box mostly. And so I had to move the panels down to get myself enough room. I needed the panels down to get myself enough room, bring the sand and gravel close to the job, so I'm not constantly moving this back and forth. I'm going to take a few blocks after I'm going to get in here and do my leveling work, level this all up to get it where it needs to be, and then I'm going to go ahead and put safety it with some blocks to keep people from falling on the rebar. Then it'll be ready for the well pump people to come in, and they'll have room to go down through here. Of course, I'll move the jackets only here while I level the piece of slab. So when I'm done leveling and setting all that, and they come in and put the pump in, then the theory is I will come back in, pour the concrete slab, and go from there with these panels. Well, before even that though, once the slab is on here proper, I will bring in water tanks and things, get them in and maybe even plumbed in before I go ahead, and I'll just literally move this panel will go down somewhat, so I don't have to worry about what I'll end up doing there. Is like this one, I'll undo it because it's very close to the right height at the bottom. You know, the top's obviously too high. What I'll do is I'll undo it, clamp it right at the same level as that. This one, I think, is, I'll check, it's the same level. And I'll get this one referenced. And once this one's referenced, both sides, I'll move everything in. And, well, it'll want to tip over naturally because this side isn't exactly referenced. But what it'll allow me to do is once I have this side in and referenced, I'll take another one of the panels, tie it in here, and that'll hold it together. And then when that's done, I can go ahead, I think I'm going to go ahead, see what I'm thinking is I don't really want the door on that side because I don't know if I'm going to, how high that's going to be, and I don't really want to have it where it runs, open the door and water runs in from the drain and blocks everything. I'm really thinking I want the door on the other side over here. So what I might do is temporarily is put a panel. In fact, since I'm going to need a panel, once I've got that referenced, what I'll do is, it's going to be kind of complicated. In fact, it's going to be really complicated. I will take that panel off, but I will put a different panel here, because I've got the two panels over there. It may not look like it from here, but there's two panels laying one on top of the other. I'll take one panel and put it on here on the inside, the side you see towards us, just to hold this thing up. Then I'll take that panel off, it's got the door on it, and I'll move it around here and either put it here or over there. The reason I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and put it here is because of the fact that the water will drain that way. The reason I'm thinking I don't necessarily is because I may want to put a feeder lot in here. Now, of course, there is arguably the one say, well, why not put it facing south? Well, partly because of the fact that that's just really the hardest place to put it, I think. On the other hand, I suppose, is if a person puts a panel here, well, let's think of this. If a person puts a panel here, then a panel here. Alright, you think, well, you just about got it all assembled then. Well, again, these are removable with screws, and I don't go in circles. So then what I do is if I have the one here and the one there holding up a corner, then I can take these down, but when I do, I'll take that one and move it over here facing that direction. And the only reason the reason I think of this one where it's at not being good is because it drains into again, gravity drains in. This side kind of drains in too. Although I suppose I could put a little bit of a pony wall out here and cut that down to some. All it has to do is be below that. Around here on this side, I can put up a pony wall on the uphill side to resist drainage, but not if I've got a door in there, because I don't want to have the door open inwards. There won't be any real room for that. I want the door to open outwards so I can get in and out without taking up all the floor space. Because if you look how far that door swings into the room, it might not give you enough room for what you need to do. If it swings to the outside, it'll swing almost, it swings that far, a little further towards that side. Kind of wish I had set it up a little better, but I could in theory go in there and cut some of that one board in the middle and make it swing further, or modify the hinging mechanism. I don't know. We'll worry about that later. But after all, it was kind of a spur of the moment build anyhow, so it's not exactly what you call really well built for any application, and it's kind of warped. I may just take that door off and redo it because it's warping and looking pretty bad, in which case the door itself will be redone at that point. If I redo the door, it's a good chance I'll make it into a pocket door. But either way, and that would make it easier. But the other thing is I don't want to have to step down, especially if it's bad weather and get slick and step with ice or mud or something on your feet from one level to another and fall. So we'll work through that. The reason for not really having the door open over here potentially is if you've got a truck right here and you can't open the door into it. But if it's a sliding door, then it won't matter. So I might just go in and put a sliding door on it and put it on this side, on the west side. Because the east side I'm potentially planning on enclosing it further out. And if I do that, I don't know. I may also not enclose it any further than that footing, which is not just a super long distance over there. So we'll just say it this way. If I do use that other footing, it won't have a lot of additional expansion. It'd have about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet of expansion over here with something. And I don't know that that's worth all that. It might still be better to put the door on this side. Now, one drawback to having a door on the far side from loading and unloading is you gotta go around the building. Which brings me back to logically the east side where those concrete slabs are, pieces are, is probably the best place to put a door. So that's quite possibly where I'll have it. When I put it up, it was, obviously based on there being a concrete structure here that isn't there really anymore. So it's pretty much kind of a unscheduled change of plans. I don't know that the gentian has grown any yet. Let's go over here and look at that. It may have. They don't grow very fast at first, so I can't tell. And I didn't bring my reading glasses. And I can't touch it for fear of breaking it. So pretty much from there, the only big major changes left to point out is just the fact we've had flowers going on. I forgot to mention that there were some and the grass is growing in the field too, but there was some the other morning there was some dandelions right hugging the ground over there. I didn't see them today just now because I think you gotta be up early morning to catch them, and I'm usually not up that time of day, so I didn't tend to see them. A lot of birds around. So the hyacinths are actually almost done blooming. They've almost completely done their thing. They're getting pretty near the end of their bloom. Of course, the irises are still yet to put up flags. And the peach has decided that it didn't want to flower this year because it would have already flowered before it put out any leaves. Some of the daffodils are already done blooming, but I can see jonquils and paper whites starting to open up over there. I don't particularly feel like walking over for that side because it's hard to get on, but we'll go around this side. I forgot to mention that the tiger lilies were coming up again, but I think I mentioned that before, but here's the daylilies. About 3 inches, 3.5 inches. Some of these potential lentils are getting along pretty good. Again, each of them being their own plant, I don't know, that one will be better than another. Yeah, coming down here where I can get in safely without too much personal damage. Get scratches on my legs mostly. Yeah. So the jonquils and the paper whites, I couldn't tell you one from the other, unfortunately, but one's one and one's the other. The jonquils are these with a little bit of a faint yellow and a larger centerpiece, I'm pretty sure. And then I think these are the paper whites here. They're a little wider and a little smaller. And there's a hyacinth that's a little later to bloom and still out. And then those over there, I don't know what they are. They're part of the thing. Again, and I'm guessing at their names, to be honest with you. One to another, I couldn't tell you, to be truthful. I really don't know them that well. I'm anything but an expert in flowers. Here's a hyacinth that I didn't know it was there, and it put up like, either that or Mom picked a flower off of it, I'm not sure. So, peonies are putting up a couple stems, a couple spears. Yeah, that's most of what's going on over here for now. Again, it'll improve a little bit. The baby's breath here is coming along. And we got more baby's breath. This is the first time I've seen that one or that one. So it's propagating a little bit from the original colony. Again, I don't know how long this plant's been here, but it's been here a long time and it's finally got babies on it. Babies with baby's breath. Bridal wreath will be a few weeks behind that. It'll be opening up pretty soon over here. Yeah, the bridal wreath will come out in a while. There's the last tulips. Last 2 tulips. I adjusted my aluminum reservoir because it was spilling over, and in the last bit of wind we had this past week, it was blowing cans down through here, so I opened it up to lower the level and put more capacity in. So I've got a little more to go before it's so big I can't keep expanding it, or at least, well, I suppose I could just add more wire and expand it infinitely at that point. So I run out of land. Somebody say, well, when are you going to use some? I don't know. Besides, I'd rather have more than that when I try to use some, because I won't be able to have more than I need for a given project. You know, after all, aluminum cans, there's not much to them. And I don't know how much it'll take, but it'll take something. And I want to make certain I have at least something. This plant down here that I've only seen flower, I think 1 or 2 times since I've been here, is still alive and growing in that cage that I put in there to keep the goats off of it. Deer never seem to mess with it, but the goats about destroyed it. But it's growing again. It's just not, I ain't seen it flower in forever. Several years. Hopefully it'll go back and flower. And again, I need to transplant it out of there so I can use the field for goats and not worry about it. The plums are starting to open up. It's really old plum that's really old. I don't know how old it is, but it's really old. It's been here it was around when I was 15, and I'm 58 now, so that's 43 years to however old it was before that, right? Yeah, yeah, 43 years that I've known of that tree right there. Some of these other trees, these pine trees, these oaks were already here, but they weren't that big, but that was already there, and it didn't seem like it was much bigger than it is now. I saw an article about the dying of wild plums and stuff, and I thought, well, that's not good. But then, what can you do about it? Well, one thing about wild plums apparently is that they need a lot of low open space away from a lot of trees. And here they are growing up against big trees, and you think, well, that seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? And it does to me too, but I don't know. They say that they need a lot of open space. I'd like to raise some good sweet wild plums. I mean, not that wild plums are all that sweet. They're actually quite tart, high in tannins. But in the meantime, keeping them alive and keeping the boogers from eating them is phase one. This one here used to hang out over the road, but because of the fact the road exists, eventually the part that hung out over the road's been tore completely off, so it's been injured. It's still alive, but I don't know if it'll put on any more flowers or fruit. So it was only fruiting off of this branch. The rest of it wasn't. I don't know. If it dies, it dies. Not much I can do about it. It is in a very unhandy location, but sometimes things happen that way. I've got a mixture of low-lying woodlands, Shelley bark, hickory, and the wild plums and the persimmon and some other trees that I don't even know the names of down here. Haven't been down here in a few days, so we'll see if pokevine and pokeweed's been coming up yet or not. Neighbors put up a string of lights across the creek. I don't know exactly what that was about, unless it's just to keep people from walking off the edge of the bridge. Oh well, ain't my problem. My property, it ain't my problem. So these daffodils and jonquils and paper whites are doing alright down here. Good thing I got deep bulbs, because I've scraped that a few times and never hurt them any. There's some nice, bright, happy looking verbena. I didn't film any of the verbena earlier because I didn't walk past it, but there's a lot of it upstairs right now. It seems to be doing good in this weather. Again, no work done down here, clearly. A long time. Practically a year and some months. I'm not even sure when I last was down here working on this other stuff. I'd have to go back and look at timestamps. It was while my mom was visiting my sister up in New York. A little onion type of flower. Again, onions being part of the lily family. They're growing all up in here. They're not much to look at, but they are a flower. I have no idea if there's any watercress over there. I don't feel like going over there, to be honest with you. Not today. Pretty snarled up looking. So one of the problems I run into is laying a fence from here to there. Is you got a water flow that wants to tear everything out. There's bags blowed down here from the windstorm. You can see how close those daffodils are from both sides. They're about halfway across the edge of the cliff from the bottom to the top. But yeah, down here, a lot of hen bits going on, and little dandelion. There's some early spring grasses popping up. Yeah, a few daffodil here and there. Not daffodil. Dandelion. Sorry. And I got one on the mind. I can't remember the other one. Oh, there's a violet. They're wild in this area, so you'll see them about anywhere. It's kind of early for violets, but I don't know if that's a lentil from previous seedings or vetch. Oh, I'd love it if it was lentil. That'd be just absolutely delightful. I tried planting some down here before, and from what I could tell, it all died, drowned. But if it sprouts and grows and gets rooted in, it might be good. So, the elderberries, to varying degrees, the deer eat these, and it makes it hard for them. Since I can't fence them off, they may put on there's a few more violets down through here. That's pretty cool. If I can fence off the elderberries from goats and deer, I'll get some good fruit from them. Except when the flood washes along and knocks them all over. Again, one of the plans is to barrier the whole field from water. Put an upstream dam on the east side. That nice straight root, making almost a boundary layer. And keep boundary anything per se. Just make an imaginary line. Something like a armadillo's been rooting around over there. A lot of the grasses from earlier have been frozen off, and they'll kind of look, another word for it. And I didn't see that blackberry down there before, but it looks like it's forming pretty good. Yeah, another blackberry. That's cool. Mom got a yellow raspberry. I'm going to figure out where to put it. There's maypops. They're coming up. That's pretty neat. Let's see if any poke has come up yet. I don't see any poke poking its head up yet. Yeah, it is, and I just think I don't see it. I'll have to transplant the poke and make a better deal out of it, though. I think poke really likes agitated soil. The fence being mangled is not helping the attempt at training up that wild grapevine any. So I might have to get in here and get all this fence stuff removed and train up the grapevine somewhere that it will be safer. A tree branch fell down recently on it. Didn't help much. Got some free sand if I go in here with a shop vac and filter it, because I really ain't going to try to shovel all that sand. It's too much garbage in it to shovel. I say shop vac, might just take a leaf blower and put a box up. Somebody said, wouldn't it blow the leaves further than the sand? Well, hopefully. Hopefully with riffles it would blow the leaves way down and the sand would fall. It'd take a couple passes, because sure as anything, some of the leaves would get caught in riffles too. The other problem is how you keep the riffles from filling up and then becoming worthless. I've got ideas. I have to engineer it. Probably what I would do is I'd have literally alternating riffles. I see a thick bushy green plant over there. I can't tell what it is, but it's nothing like some of the stuff over here. It looks like a groundhog has dug another den here. Yeah, it has. Stupid little monsters. They're everywhere, They destroy the ground and help erode everything away. But if I can build myself some kind of automated riffle device that would make 2 layers that alternate so that when it fills up with sand, oh wow, here's a whole bunch of real pretty flowers. Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but I came back this way. I do not know what they're called, but they make real good photo ops. Again, free pictures for anybody that wants them. Screen cap them and they're yours. I figure there's nothing more perfect to share than flowers. They're so temporal, and you can't keep them forever. So not like hoarding a car or something that there's only one of, and it'll last forever if you care for it. It's like, well, there are millions of them out there, but they don't last very long. There's no way to preserve them forever, so share them while you can. Enjoy them while where they're at. You know, I suppose we might say, well, why not share a car with everybody? You know, I won't get into that, but I will say that it's pretty impractical to try to share a car with everybody, especially people who would, in some cases, set it on fire. But, and I'm not saying that I would want that kind of car. I'd give away all of them if I ended up, I'd probably recycle them actually. Just because of the fact that I think that again, flowers aren't something you recycle. I don't see any watercress at the moment. Not saying it ain't there, but I'm not seeing it. I see honeysuckle growing through here. I don't know what this tree is. It's a little, I don't know if it's a type of elm or what. But this area is all tore up, needs to be redone. I was originally trying to preserve it to be a pond, but now I'm not too sure from looking at how the erosion and everything hit it that it's worth doing that. Certainly not the way I'd tried. So I'll have to rethink all that. This is funny, this looks like it was a watering dish or something at one time. Kind of neat. Yeah, looks like a little watering dish or something. To me anyhow. A little contoured piece of shale sediment. Well, I'm pretty much out of anything to report on. I did clean a little tiny bit of the shop, but you'd never know it looking at it. It doesn't look any real difference. But so that's pretty much the bulk of everything that went on in a nutshell. And I didn't even give it a good detailed cover. I went and rambled. But I'll probably make it shorter again next week and not come down here. But for now, just have a happy and blessed Sabbath.